The worst part about catching your fiancé cheating isn't the shock. It's the silence that follows, that suspended moment where your entire world crumbles, but somehow you still remember to breathe. My name is Julia, and I thought I was about to have the best homecoming of my life. I'd cut my Seattle business trip short by 2 days, racing through airport security with my carry-on bouncing against my hip, giddy to surprise Chris at home. The universe, it turns out, had other plans. I noticed something was off the moment I turned onto our street. Too many cars lined the curb. Familiar cars. Sarah's silver Audi, Cooper's beat-up Jeep, even Hallie's distinctive pink Volkswagen. My stomach twisted as I parked around the corner, not wanting to give away my arrival. The house glowed warmly against the darkening sky, soft music drifting through partially opened windows. I could hear laughter inside, the kind that comes with wine, and secrets. Using my key, I opened the front door as quietly as possible. The entryway was lined with flickering candles and a "Welcome Home, Julia" banner hung crookedly across the living room archway. Rose petals scattered the floor. My heart should have melted. Instead, it froze. "She's not supposed to be back until tomorrow night," Sarah's voice carried from the kitchen, followed by the distinct sound of a cork popping. "We have plenty of time to set everything up perfectly." "You're sure about the flight details?" Chris asked, his voice carrying that honey-warm tone he usually reserved for me. "Positive. I checked her itinerary myself last week. Now come here." I stepped into the kitchen doorway, my heels silent against the hardwood. The scene before me burned itself into my retinas. Sarah, my best friend since 7th grade, perched on our kitchen counter. Chris, my fiancé of 8 months, standing between her legs, his hands on her thighs, their lips separated with a soft sound that made me want to vomit. "Guess she's not coming after all," Sarah giggled, reaching for Chris's shirt collar. "Guess again," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. They jumped apart like teenagers caught by parents. Chris's face drained of colour. Sarah's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air. "Jules," Chris stammered, "this isn't... We were just..." I lifted my phone. "Already recording?" "Smile." Sarah scrambled off the counter, smoothing her dress. "Julia, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" I asked, panning the camera between them. "How long you've been fucking my fiancé in my kitchen, or how you planned this cute little surprise party as cover." "Baby, please." Chris stepped forward, hands raised like I was holding a gun instead of an iPhone. "It was a mistake. A horrible mistake." I laughed, a hollow sound that scared even me. "A mistake is burning dinner. This..." I gestured to the romantic setup around us. "This is a choice. Multiple choices, actually. Daily choices to betray someone who trusted you both." "Jewel..." Sarah reached for me, mascara already smearing under her eyes. I stepped back. Don't you dare cry like you're the victim here." Footsteps approached from the living room. Cooper appeared in the doorway, freezing when he saw me. Behind him, I could hear others arriving, their voices carrying excited whispers about the surprise party that was about to go so very wrong. I turned back to Chris and Sarah, who stood guilty and frozen in my kitchen, where I'd cooked Sunday brunches and holiday dinners, where Chris had proposed on one knee last Christmas morning, where Sarah had helped me plan my wedding over bottles of wine. "You know what the real mistake was?" I asked, stopping the recording and slipping my phone into my pocket. Thinking either of you deserved my loyalty, I walked to the door, past shocked faces and whispered questions. As I reached for the handle, I turned back one last time, making sure both Chris and Sarah could see my face clearly. "We're just getting started," I whispered, and closed the door behind me with a soft click that echoed like a gunshot in the sudden silence. I made it exactly 3 blocks before pulling over, my hands shaking too badly to drive. My phone buzzed continuously, Chris's desperate attempts at damage control lighting up my screen like a Christmas tree. Chris, Jules, please come back, let me explain. Chris, it's not what you think, Chris. I love you. Sarah means nothing. Chris, please answer your phone. Chris, where are you? Sarah's social media had gone dark within minutes. Typical. She always disappeared when confronted with her own mess. I jumped when someone tapped on my window. It was Emmett from work, concern etched across his face. I rolled down the window. Saw your car, he said. You okay? You look like you've seen a ghost. Worse, I saw my fiancé with his tongue down my best friend's throat. Jesus Christ, he opened my door. Come on, you shouldn't be alone right now. 20 minutes later, we sat in a 24-hour diner, me staring into a cup of coffee while Emmett waited patiently for me to speak. I should have known, I finally said. The signs were everywhere. Like what? Sarah volunteering to help with all the wedding planning, insisting on being there for every dress fitting, every vendor meeting. She wasn't being supportive. She was keeping tabs. My phone buzzed again. This time, a text from my mother. I heard what happened. I always said Chris was too charming for his own good. Call me. I switched my phone off. My mother's probably thrilled. She's been waiting for something like this since I moved in with Chris. Why's that? Because she's been preparing me for disappointment my whole life. I mimicked her voice. Julia, don't trust so easily. Julia, keep your guard up. Julia, men will always let you down. Just look at your father. Sounds exhausting. You have no idea. I pulled out my laptop. But for once, her paranoia might come in handy. What are you doing? Accessing our shared cloud storage. I typed rapidly. Chris isn't just a cheater. He's lazy. He never logs out of anything. Emails loaded on the screen, hundreds of them dating back over a year. My hand started shaking again as I opened the first one. From Sarah, subject, missing you already. Date, March 15th, 2 months before our engagement. I can't wait until tomorrow. Julia's business trip couldn't have come at a better time. I'll bring the wine. You just bring yourself. And maybe that thing we talked about. Holy shit, Emmett leaned closer. That's before he proposed, before he asked my mother's blessing, before Sarah helped me pick out my wedding dress. My voice cracked. They were laughing at me the entire time. Julia. Emmett's voice was gentle but firm. What are you going to do? I looked up from the screen, my vision clearing for the first time since I'd walked into that kitchen. I'm going to do what I do best, Emmett. I'm going to market the truth. Meaning? Sarah runs an interior design blog. Chris is up for partner at his firm. They both live and die by their reputations. I started forwarding emails to myself. They wanted to play games. Fine, let's play. Be careful, Emmett warned. Revenge can backfire. This isn't revenge. I pulled up Sarah's latest Instagram post, a photo of her at my house just hours ago, caption reading, "Preparing something special for my bestie." This is karma. I'm just helping it along. My phone lit up with another text, this one from Cooper. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know it wasn't just about the ring. I'm so sorry. I showed Emmett the message. See, the dominoes are already falling. What ring? That's what I intend to find out. I closed my laptop. But first, I need to make a few calls, starting with Jade. She always said Sarah was hiding something from our college days. Just promise me you won't lose yourself in this? I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. Too late, Em. They already took care of that part. You're not going to believe this, Jade's voice crackled through my phone speaker. I found Sarah's old college blog, the one she swore she never had. I sat straighter in my temporary office, a corner booth at the hotel where I'd been staying since that night. Tell me, remember how she always claimed she never dated Chris, that they met through you? Let me guess, another lie? They dated for 6 months sophomore year. There are photos, Julia, lots of them. My coffee turned bitter in my mouth. Send me everything." "Already did. Check your email." Jade paused. "There's more." "Of course there is." "Sarah's cousin Hallie just went live on Instagram. She's doing some throwback party at your house. I guess Sarah gave her a key." I pulled up Hallie's profile. Sure enough, there she was, touring my home like a real estate agent, champagne in hand. "They're having a party in my house." "Wait for it," Jade said. "Skip to minute 12. I forwarded through the video until I saw Sarah in the background arguing with someone off camera. The audio was muffled but clear enough. "Chris, I told you not to come here. Julia could have people watching the house." "It's my house too," Chris's voice slurred and angry, "and I need my files." "Keep watching," Jade prompted. The camera followed Sarah and Chris into his home office. Chris yanked open a drawer, pulling out a thick manila envelope. "Without these, the whole deal falls apart. Your cousin's little social media show could ruin everything." Hallie's voice came through, confused. "What deal?" The live stream ended abruptly. Holy shit," I breathed. "Whatever they're hiding, it's bigger than the affair." My phone buzzed with another call. Cooper again. I'd been avoiding him, but something made me answer. "Julia, thank God, look, I need to tell you something about Chris's project." "The one he's presenting to the board next week?" "Yeah, the designs. They're not his. They're yours." The world tilted sideways. "What?" "Remember those sketches you did last year? The Sustainable Community Project? Chris found them in your home office. He's been passing them off as his own." My hands started shaking. Those drawings had been my passion project. Ideas I'd shared with Chris over late-night conversations, dreams I'd sketched while thinking about our future. "Cooper, I need you to send me proof. Everything you have." "Already done. Check your messages." He hesitated. "There's something else. Sarah's firm, they're the interior designers on the project. She's been in on it from the start." A notification popped up. Hallie posting another Instagram story. This time, it was a tearful apology. "I'm so sorry about the live stream earlier. I had no idea about any of this. Julia, if you're watching, please call me." I texted Emmett, "Remember how you said revenge could backfire? What if it's already working without me doing anything?" He replied instantly, "Be careful. Cornered people get desperate." As if on cue, my laptop pinged with an email from Sarah. "Julia, we need to talk. There are things you don't understand, things bigger than us. Please meet me at our old spot tomorrow at 2. Come alone." I forwarded it to Jade. "What do you think?" "I think she's scared," Jade replied, "but not of losing you. Check the attachment I just sent." I opened it and felt my breath catch. It was a screenshot from Sarah's private Instagram story, posted and deleted last week. A photo of my engagement ring, caption reading, "Sometimes the best things in life are stolen." "The ring," I whispered. Cooper mentioned something about a ring. My phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. "You should ask Sarah about the original engagement ring, the one Chris bought before yours." "Hey!" I saved Hallie's number, then opened my laptop to start a new document. At the top, I typed, Phase 1, following the breadcrumbs. Below it, I began listing names, dates, and connections. By the time I finished, one thing was crystal clear. This wasn't just about an affair. This was about a long con, with me as the mark. "Game on," I muttered, and started making calls. I didn't meet Sarah at our old spot. Instead, I met Cooper at a bar across town, watching him drain his third whiskey as guilt loosened his tongue. "The first ring was gorgeous," he slurred. "Vintage, family heirloom. Chris showed it to everyone at the office." "But that's not the ring he gave me." "No." Cooper stared into his glass. "He sold it, said he needed capital for the project. Sarah helped him pick out yours, the cheaper one." I twisted my engagement ring, wondering how many lies it represented. "Tell me about the project." "Your project, you mean?" Cooper pulled out his phone, showing me files he'd downloaded. "Chris presented your initial designs as his own concept last spring. Sarah's firm jumped on board immediately. They're set to make millions if it goes through." "Using my work?" "Yeah, the final presentation is next week. Board members are flying in from everywhere." I smiled, an idea forming. "What time exactly?" "Thursday, 2 p.m. Why?" "Just curious." I stood up. "Get home safe, Cooper." Outside, I called my mother. She answered on the first ring. "Finally decided to talk to me?" Her voice held its usual edge. "I need to know something," I said, "about Dad." Silence stretched between us. Then, "What about him? Did he really leave us for his secretary, or was that another one of your convenient lies?" "Excuse me? You always told me men would betray me, that I needed to be prepared, but maybe you were just projecting your own issues." "Julia, tell me the truth, for once." She sighed, a heavy sound that carried decades of weight. "Your father didn't leave us for anyone. I drove him away. I was involved with someone else, his best friend." The confession hit like a physical blow. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because you're about to do something stupid for revenge, and I recognize that look in your eye. I've worn it myself." I hung up and opened my laptop, logging into an anonymous email account. Within minutes, I'd sent Chris's stolen designs to every board member at his firm with a simple message: "Verify the original creator before Thursday's presentation." My phone buzzed. Jade sending screenshots from a popular cheating confession forum. Someone had posted our story, names removed but details precise. "Caught my fiancé and best friend during my surprise party. Should I expose them?" Comments flooded in, most encouraging maximum destruction. One caught my eye. "Tell us more. We love a good revenge story." I smiled and started typing a response from a different anonymous account, adding new details about stolen designs and fraudulent business deals. "What are you doing?" Emmett's voice made me jump. He'd appeared beside my table without me noticing. "Creating narrative tension," I said, continuing to type. "By this time tomorrow, that post will have gone viral." "And then what?" "Then I release proof, names, dates, everything." "Julia?" He sat down. "This isn't you." I turned my laptop to show him Sarah's latest Instagram post, a photo of her in my house, wearing my clothes, caption reading, "Home sweet home." "They're living in my house, Emmett, using my designs, wearing my life like a costume." "So take legal action." "I am." I showed him an email from my lawyer. "But first, I'm taking back my narrative." My phone lit up with a text from Hallie. "Sarah's freaking out. She knows something's coming. What did you do?" I replied, "Nothing yet, but tell her to check tomorrow's board meeting schedule. There's been a slight change." "Julia," Emmett warned, "don't become what you hate." "Too late." I showed him one final screenshot, Sarah's private blog post from 6 months ago, detailing how she'd orchestrated running into Chris in college, how she'd planned everything since then, ending with, "Sometimes you have to break a few hearts to get what you want." "Thursday," I said, closing my laptop. "Everything ends Thursday." "Or begins," Emmett muttered. I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw genuine concern in his eyes. But it was too late for warnings. The dominoes were already falling, and Thursday's presentation would be the final push. "Trust me," I said, standing up. "They'll never see it coming." The anonymous post went viral overnight, and Karma is Real started trending after I strategically shared it in several women's support groups. By morning, the story had evolved into a full-blown social media phenomenon. "Have you seen this?" Hallie's voice trembled over the phone. "Everyone's talking about it. Sarah's convinced you're behind it." "Is she?" I refreshed my screen, watching the view count climb. How's she handling that? She's losing it. Posted like 20 cryptic Instagram stories this morning. I checked Sarah's profile. Sure enough, there they were. Dark quotes about betrayal, vague warnings about people who play with fire, and a final defiant post captioned, "Not my circus, not my monkeys." Interesting choice of words, I said, considering she's still squatting in my house. About that, Hallie hesitated. She's planning some kind of party there tonight, a truth-telling gathering or something. Perfect timing. What do you mean? Check your email in about 5 minutes. I hung up and sent the pre-prepared email to my carefully curated list, local lifestyle bloggers, social media influencers, and, most importantly, Sarah's entire client roster. Subject line, the truth about social media's favourite interior designer. The attached photos showed Sarah and Chris together in college, followed by screenshots of their recent messages planning their deception. The final image was a side-by-side comparison of my original designs and Chris's stolen presentation. My phone exploded with notifications. Jade texted, "It's happening! Sarah's losing followers by the minute." I watched through Hallie's Instagram live as Sarah received the email during her truth-telling party. Her face went from confused to horrified in real time. "Turn off your phone," Chris's voice came through in the background. "They're just trying to provoke us." "Trying?" Sarah's voice cracked. "They're succeeding. My clients are cancelling contracts." The livestream continued as Sarah paced my living room, phone pressed to her ear. "No, listen, I can explain everything. The designs, that's a misunderstanding. No, please don't make any decisions yet." My laptop pinged with an email from Chris's firm. "Ms. Vasquez, we've received your evidence regarding the stolen designs. Please call our legal department immediately." "Julia." Emmett appeared at my office door. "Chris is here." "Send him in." Chris looked terrible. Unshaven, shirt wrinkled, eyes wild. "What have you done?" "Me?" I leaned back in my chair. "I simply shared some truth. Isn't that what you and Sarah were planning tonight? A truth-telling party?" "You're destroying everything." "No, Chris, you did that the moment you stole my designs." I turned my monitor to show him the viral post. "The internet just loves a good karma story, doesn't it?" "This isn't about karma," he snarled. "This is revenge." "Maybe." I stood up. "But unlike you, I'm not hiding behind fake accounts and stolen work. I'm putting my name on everything." "We had a life together." "No," I corrected him. "We had my life, which you and Sarah tried to steal. Speaking of..." I checked my phone. "Your presentation starts in an hour. Shouldn't you be preparing?" His face crumpled. "Julia, please, we can fix this." Actually, we can't. I showed him my screen, Sarah's latest Instagram post, throwing him under the bus. "Sometimes we trust the wrong people. I never knew the designs were stolen." The truth will out. Chris staggered back like I'd hit him. She promised we'd stick together." "Karma's funny that way." I sat back down. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a video call with your board of directors in 10 minutes. He left without another word. I watched through my office window as he walked to his car, shoulders slumped in defeat. My phone buzzed with a text from Jade. "Sarah just went private on everything, but not before posting one last story." The screenshot showed Sarah, mascara streaked, in my master bathroom. "You want the truth? Fine. But remember, Julia, you asked for this." I forwarded it to Emmett with a simple message. "Phase 1 complete. Ready for Phase 2? His reply was immediate. "Are you sure you want to keep going?" I looked at Sarah's tear-stained face on my screen and remembered all the tears I'd shed over their betrayal. "Oh yes," I whispered. "I'm just getting warmed up." The reconciliation brunch invitation went out to a select group: Chris, Sarah, our original wedding party, and a few carefully chosen witnesses. The response was immediate and predictable. "Are you insane?" Jade demanded over the phone. "Why would you invite them to brunch?" "Because," I said, adjusting the centerpiece on my dining table, "everyone loves a good redemption story." The doorbell rang at exactly 11 a.m. Sarah stood there, looking uncertain in a conservative blue dress. "I wasn't sure I should come." "But you did." I stepped aside. "Come in. Chris is already here." He sat at the far end of the table, nursing a mimosa. Other guests filtered in. Cooper, looking nervous. Hallie, clutching her phone like a lifeline. Various friends who'd witnessed the original betrayal, all wearing expressions of confused anticipation. "Before we start," I announced, raising my glass, "I'd like to propose a toast to truth." Sarah shifted uncomfortably. "Julia, about that last post." "Oh, we'll get to that," I smiled. "But first, let's talk about loyalty. Chris, why don't you start? How would you define loyalty?" He cleared his throat. I think loyalty is about standing by someone no matter what." "Interesting." I turned to Sarah. "And you?" "Loyalty is—" She swallowed hard. "Loyalty is honesty." "Honesty," I repeated, "like being honest about dating Chris in college, or honest about stealing my designs." The room went silent. Sarah's hand trembled as she reached for her water glass. "Or maybe," I continued, "honest about the original engagement ring, the family heirloom you convinced Chris to sell?" Chris's head snapped up. "How did you? Amazing what people will tell you when guilt eats at them." I pulled out my phone. "Speaking of guilt, Sarah, would you like to explain this?" I played the audio recording, Sarah's voice clear and cruel. "She's so stupid, Chris. She actually thinks we're her friends, that you love her. It's almost too easy." Sarah's face went white. "Where did you get that?" "Your cousin's Instagram Live caught more than you realized." I looked at Hallie. "Thank you, by the way, for leaving those streams unedited." Phones started buzzing around the table, right on schedule. "What's happening?" Chris grabbed his phone. "Why is my firm calling? Probably about the press release." I took a sip of mimosa. "The one detailing how you stole designs from your fiancé while carrying on an affair with your project partner." Sarah lunged for her phone. "No, no, no." "Oh, and Sarah," I added, "your design blog might need updating. I sent proof of your involvement to every client you have." "You can't do this." Chris stood up, face red. "Actually, I can, and I did." I turned to our guests. "Check your emails, everyone. You'll find quite an interesting story about trust, betrayal, and consequences." The room filled with the sound of notifications and gasps as the full story unfolded on their screens. Every lie, every manipulation, every cruel joke at my expense. "You've ruined us," Sarah whispered. "No." I stood up. "You did that yourselves. I just made sure everyone knew the truth." "Julia," Emmett warned from his seat, "remember what we talked about." "I remember." I faced Sarah and Chris. "Which is why I'm giving you both exactly 1 hour to get your things and get out of my house. After that, the locks change and anything left behind goes to charity." "You can't," Chris started. "I can. It's my house. My name's on the deed." I smiled. "You really should have checked that before trying to play house with my best friend." Sarah grabbed her purse and ran for the door. Chris followed, but paused in the doorway. "This isn't over," he threatened. "Actually, it is." I held up my phone. "Unless you'd like me to release phase 2? He paled and fled. The remaining guests sat in stunned silence until Jade spoke up. "So, is brunch actually happening, or—" "Of course." I started pouring fresh mimosas. "After all, we're celebrating." "Celebrating what?" someone asked. I picked up my glass, watching Sarah and Chris argue in the driveway through the window. "Karma," I said, "and perfect timing." As if on cue, both their phones began ringing again. The storm was just beginning, and I had front row seats to watch it all unfold. Welcome home indeed. The aftermath hit like a tsunami. Chris lost his partnership track after the board meeting erupted into chaos. Sarah's design firm dropped her within hours of the evidence going public. Their carefully constructed house of cards collapsed in spectacular fashion, and I watched it all through the lens of social media. "Look at this," Jade said, scrolling through her phone. We sat in my newly reclaimed living room, sharing wine and schadenfreude. Sarah's trying to do damage control, posted some sob story about being manipulated by Chris. How's that working out for her? Comments are brutal. Someone found her old blog posts about stealing your fiancé. They're not buying the victim act. My phone buzzed. Emmett calling. I answered on speaker. "Have you seen the news?" he asked without preamble. "Which part?" "Chris just got escorted out of the firm. Security footage shows him trying to delete files from the server last night." I took a long sip of wine. Desperate people make desperate choices. "Julia." Emmett's voice turned serious. "We need to talk, in person." 20 minutes later, he sat across from me at our usual coffee shop, looking troubled. "This has gone far enough," he said. "Has it?" I pulled out my laptop, because I have a whole folder labelled Phase 2 that suggests otherwise. "That's exactly what I'm talking about." He leaned forward. "You're not acting like yourself anymore." Maybe this is myself. Maybe this is who I become when everything I believed in turns out to be a lie. Or maybe you're turning into your mother. The words hit like a slap. "What did you say?" "Your mother called me." He held up his hand as I started to protest. "She's worried about you, says she recognizes the patterns. She has no right. She told me about your father, about what she did to him." Emmett's eyes softened. "About how revenge consumed her until there was nothing left but bitterness." My phone lit up with a notification. Sarah posting again. "Some people think revenge is justice, but karma works both ways. See?" I showed Emmett the post. "They're still trying to control the narrative, and you're letting them control you." Before I could respond, another call came through. My mother. "Whatever you're about to do," she said when I answered, "don't." "How do you?" "Because I know that look in your eyes. I invented it." She sighed. "I drove your father away because I couldn't let go of my need for revenge against someone else. Don't make my mistakes." "This is different." "Is it you? You've won, Julia. They've lost everything. What more do you want?" I opened my laptop, staring at the folder labelled Phase 2, filled with more damaging evidence, more secrets, more destruction waiting to be unleashed. "I want them to hurt like I hurt," I whispered. "They already are," Emmett said gently. "Look." He showed me his phone, a video of Chris, drunk outside a bar, ranting about losing everything. Sarah's Instagram stories had devolved into increasingly desperate attempts to salvage her reputation. Their worlds were crumbling without any additional push from me. "Delete it," my mother said through the phone. "Delete Phase 2 and walk away." My cursor hovered over the folder. Images flashed through my mind. Chris and Sarah laughing in my kitchen, the fake surprise party, the stolen designs, the betrayal that had started this whole cascade. "I can't just—" "Yes, you can," Emmett interrupted, "because you're better than them, better than this." My phone buzzed with a text from Jade. "Sarah just posted something weird, says she's leaving town, can't take the pressure, mentions making peace with past mistakes." I looked at the folder again, then at Emmett's concerned face, then at my mother's name on the phone screen. "Fine," I said, and clicked delete. The folder disappeared with a simple animation, taking with it weeks of carefully gathered ammunition. "I've gone far enough," I whispered, echoing words I'd once said with very different intent. Emmett squeezed my hand. "Now what?" I closed my laptop, feeling lighter somehow. "Now, I think it's time to write my own story, one that doesn't revolve around them." "That's my girl," my mother said softly. Outside, the sun was setting, painting the sky in colours of renewal. Karma had done its work. The rest was up to me. The key slid into the lock of my new apartment with a satisfying click. Behind me, Jade and Hallie struggled with boxes labelled kitchen and books. "I still can't believe you sold the house," Hallie said, setting down her box. "It was gorgeous." "It was haunted," I corrected her, "by memories I don't need anymore." My phone buzzed, another notification from the viral Reddit post I'd written last night, detailing my story of betrayal and revenge. The comment section had exploded with support, stories of similar experiences, and questions about what happened next. "Speaking of memories," Jade called from the kitchen, Sarah posted again. "Let me guess, another apology tour?" "Actually, no." Jade appeared with her phone. "She's admitting everything. Tagged you in it too." I read the post. "To a Julia." "You were right. About everything. The affair, the lies, the manipulation. I've spent weeks trying to justify my actions, but there's no justification for betraying someone who trusted you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just want you to know you didn't deserve any of it. And your revenge, it wasn't revenge at all, it was justice." "Wow," Hallie whispered. "That's actually genuine." "Too little, too late," I said, but without the bitterness that would have coloured those words a week ago. My phone rang. "Emmett, have you seen the news?" he asked. "About?" "Chris. He's been officially disbarred from the Architects Association. Apparently your designs weren't the only ones he stole." I sat on a moving box. "How are you feeling about all this?" I asked him. "Me? I'm not the one who lived through it." "No, but you watched me nearly become someone else, someone darker. But you didn't," he said softly. "That's what matters." A knock at the door interrupted us. I opened it to find my mother standing there, holding a houseplant. "Traditional housewarming gift," she said awkwardly. "Can I come in?" I stepped aside, watching her take in the boxes, the bare walls, the fresh start. "I've been thinking," she said, setting down the plant, "about what I taught you about trust and betrayal, about how I let my past poison your future." "Mum, let me finish." She turned to face me. "You did something I never could. You got justice without losing yourself. You're stronger than I ever was." Jade and Hallie quietly slipped out, giving us privacy. "I'm not strong," I said. "I'm just tired of letting other people write my story." "Speaking of stories," my mother pulled out her phone, showing me a message from Chris. "He's trying to contact everyone asking for character references. His new job applications aren't going well." And I told him exactly where he could file those requests. She smiled, a real smile, one I hadn't seen in years. "No one messes with my daughter." I laughed, surprising myself with how genuine it felt. Another notification popped up. Someone had tagged me in a professional networking post. "Looking for an innovative designer with proven concepts in sustainable architecture? Contact Julia." "That's interesting timing," Emmett said, through the phone I'd forgotten was still connected. It's not timing," I replied. "It's karma coming full circle." I walked to the window of my new apartment, looking out at the city skyline. Somewhere out there, Sarah was starting over in a different state. Chris was facing the consequences of years of deception. And me? I had a blank canvas, both literally and figuratively. My designs, the ones that had been stolen, were now rightfully credited to me. My story had resonated with thousands online, turning betrayal into connection. And most importantly, I'd learned the difference between revenge and justice. "You know what?" I said to no one in particular. "I think I'm ready to start designing again." "The world's ready for your designs," Emmett replied. My mother touched my shoulder. "And this time, they'll have your name on them." I looked at the empty apartment, waiting to be filled with new memories. The plant my mother brought already added a touch of life to the space. Outside, the city hummed with possibility. "I wasn't broken by betrayal," I said, echoing the words I'd written in my viral post. I was forged by it. And this time, I believed it.